Hi juniors, welcome to week 5 of Computer Systems and Programming. I hope you had lots of fun last week completing the Yoda challenge, but for this Sunday, October 22nd, you are going to be completing your Scratch program project plan. Wow, what a mouthful. So essentially what this is you will be creating a game in Scratch that will be presenting at cohort. And in order to create a nice fun game, we're going to plan out those steps. And so we're going to go through some examples. So the first example is one you just worked with, the Yoda challenge. So as you can remember, we gave you 2 images to work with, the Yoda and then the cupcake that you cleared the images background of and then you implemented into the game. And to complete the challenge, you had to follow the instructions we had. You had to have Yoda move around on the screen, which you've done multiple times before through the quiz question and at kickoff. And then you had the cupcake. If Yoda ate the cupcake and made a sound, it disappeared and reappeared on the screen somewhere else. And it counted it 3 times before the challenge was over. So that's one example. You went and you followed the steps and you created the challenge. And now here is my example. So let's say for my game, oh no. For my game, I plan on creating a maze. And so the concept will be maze. You're getting from point A to point B. To add a little challenge component to the game itself, make it a little more interesting, it's going to be time. The faster you get through it, the faster you get through it. And so here are the steps that I hope to include in my game. So the maze is going to be drawn out. I don't know what it looks like yet. It could be circular, it could be square-gular, rectangular. But you are going to have a start and a finish, a point A to point B that you'll be traveling through. The sprite's going to move up, down, left, and right to get through the path. If the sprite touches any part of the maze, it will have to be teleported to the beginning where start is and go through the maze again. There will be a pen tool to trace the path that your sprite is traveling through. In case you hit a dead end, you want to see what path you came from to recover your chugging along through the maze. There's going to be a timer because it's going to be timed, as I mentioned before. It'll just be running at the beginning of the game. And then lastly, when you finish the game, it'll give you a congratulations, you made it through the maze screen. So that is what my plan would look like. And if you have any questions or need any more examples, please feel free to email us. Like if those 2 examples weren't enough for you, like you can feel free to email me or Julie or anyone on staff. They'll either be able to share more examples with you or point you in the right direction. And so as always, you have also a weekly quiz that you'll be completing. There are 4 questions this week and they can be found on Canvas. So let's go ahead and look at our assignments for this week on Canvas. So first, here is the activity prompt for the planning. And I went through this a bit at kickoff. But so your plan, what you'll be submitting is going to be a PowerPoint presentation, just like the presentation that you submitted for Mini Marketplace. You can make it in Google Google Slides, but you'll just need to download that and then upload it onto Canvas for me in PowerPoint form. You will start off with a title slide that includes your name, maybe the name of the game, and then something that says that this is your idea building plan. And the next slide will be idea generating. So if you haven't already set your heart to creating a specific game, maybe you'll start off with generating a bunch of ideas that you can choose from. And I have included a link here for you if you do get stuck. They're categorized loosely by easy, medium, and hard. Essentially, you can read these descriptions and get some ideas to branch off of. And so once you've come up with your list of ideas, you can then select one of those ideas, and that will be the main focus of your plan. With that plan, then you're going to create something like the step-by-steps that I showed earlier. And you can also use this template to kind of guide what you might want to include in your plan. So what is the program going to be called, what it does, what variables are going to be included. So for example, in my maze, the variable that I would include would be the timer that is running. Who is the program designed for? Because you all know that we'll be presenting these at cohort. Your audience will most likely be your classmates. And then if you want to delve deeper and really get into those nitty-gritty details, you might think about what sprite you're going to use. Is your sprite going to have costumes? How are you going to make it look realistic? And what backgrounds you're going to include. So those are some things that you can add onto your plan for me to look at. And then, so going back to Canvas, and you have to take the quiz, which is 4 questions long. Please note at the end of the quiz, one of the questions is list 1 or more questions. List 2 or more questions you have about Scratch or your final project. Please list questions. Don't leave it blank. I will take off points for it. And I say this to kind of be funny, but also in all seriousness, I do want to be able to give you clarifications during these videos or give you direct comments. So you're really doing yourself a favor by asking these questions. So that those are all the assignments you have this week. Are there any questions you have? Yes.
On the activity prompt, it says I have to have ideas for different games I might want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is that required, or do I not need to have that on my PowerPoint?
So the activity prompt extends to guide you through an idea generation process if you haven't already set your heart to creating something. So if you answered the quiz a while back and you already have an idea in your mind, you can go ahead and take that idea and start just developing the plan for it. Otherwise, if not, you can walk through the idea generation process, include that so I can see it, and then plan out your game. Yes.
Does it have to be a PowerPoint, or can it be a Microsoft Word document?
I would prefer a PowerPoint for a few different reasons. One is it's a visual representation. 2 is it is short and to the point. If you remember back to the Yoda challenge and the example that I created for you, the instructions were very simple. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, and you had a game. So given your plan and taking that plan to create your game, there's a lot of leeway for you to create your game. If you really set your heart to something and then you run into issues later, you'll run into kind of a barrier to you creating the game. You kind of minimize your creativity. And lastly, you've written a lot of reports. This is short, brief, simple. We both will appreciate it. Yes.
Can we start working on our games?
Yes, you can start working on your games as soon as you finish your plan. That actually will give you more time to work on it and ask questions. Yes.
If I already know what my game is and I already start working on it and I finish it, do I still have to submit the plan?
Yes, for sure. You definitely need to submit the plan for me to look at, not because I dislike you and want you to have more work to do, but because it is a planning process. If you've already started your game, you should have kind of a leg up with how your plan will look because you already know how it's going to play out. If anything, it should help you generate more ideas or really be able to document your work so that you can share it with your classmates too. Any other questions? Sounds good. Well, keep up the good work, and please email me if you have any questions or if you need any additional examples for this week's assignment. See you then. Bye.